Hey, what's up, guys? Today, hopefully, this mic is a lot better than the one I used yesterday. Um, today I'm doing a slightly different kind of video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a moving battle bus in UEFN. Now, you probably could do this to some extent in normal creative, but if you really want it to, you would have to use a prop mover and then have the player you could do it, but you'd have to sync up the player's movement with the bus, and it's a little bit difficult to do that. So what we're going to do is have a cinematic sequence in UEFN do the work for us so that it's easier and smoother looking. And what it's going to do is it's going to have a camera that moves with the bus so that, and then when the player jumps, so this is what it does actually. So this mutator zone here you can see that it's slightly above the ground, and this is a spawn island. These are all of my spawn pads. This timer is the door will open in 5 seconds. So when a player jumps, their head will touch this mutator zone, which says to enable when the timer is done, and when a player enters the zone, it'll tell this cinematic sequence to stop its function. What is a cinematic sequence? Well, okay, so first you can go into creative actually in your session, or you can do this in UEFN, it works either way. And what this does is this little thing, you can just set it to autoplay. This is very important. Visibility needs to be instigator only, because if you do everyone, the problem is when one person jumps out of the bus, it'll stop the animation for everyone, and we don't want that. You can leave all of the other things alone. I did force keep state so that the position of the bus stays enabled on gameplay only. Now this, make sure that you set up at least one player spawner to link to this device before before you place all of the other player spawners, because otherwise you're going to have to do what I had to do and select all 50 spawners in this case and link them to this device individually, because for some reason UEFN won't let you directly modify events. Instead, you have to go to the other device and modify its functions. I know this is not very clear to those of you who are not familiar with creative. That's okay. Feel free to ask me anything in the comments, and since I don't have many viewers at this time, honestly, feel free to just ask to join me if you would like. And I will provide the island code to this at some point, but at this moment it is not currently published. Plus, I don't think this is a very good map. It's just a mini BR, but it's not very good. Anyways, so what you're going to do with this cinematic sequence device is under sequence, you're going to put your sequence, which in my case is in my shared assets. It's called bus sequence. What you can do to make one of these is press add cinematics and level sequence, and that'll give you one of these. And in here, actually I'm going to create a new one so that you guys can see exactly how you do it. I'm going to create a new level sequence, name it whatever you want. Not literally. I'm just doing this for example purposes. You can open it and you'll get this interface here. You can full screen it if you want. What you'll need to do is press this button to create a new camera cut, and that will give you you may want to put this on the side of your viewport so that you can see them both side by side. Now you can actually pilot this camera and move it to wherever you want. Let's say I want to take a look at what did I do here? That's not what I meant to do. There we go. Anyways, you can control this with the camera, and you will definitely want to change your settings like focal length. 20 is a bit more natural. It looks a lot more like the player's view. You can change anything that you want here, and what you're going to need to do is at the very beginning, at frame 0, this normally goes at 30 frames per second, which is fine. Doesn't really matter. But this will be a 5-second long sequence by default. You can lengthen it, and what you need to do is lengthen both this red thing and this. And make sure they're the same length. And then what you do here is set the cursor to wherever you want, to where the sequence starts, which is 0 here. And let's say I want the focal length to be 20 at frame 0. Well, here I can just press the little add button, and it adds a new key here, which will set the focal length to 20 at frame 0. I can do this wherever I want and change it wherever I want. Like I can do 35, and it will try to interpolate between the two values. And it will just leave it at whatever the last key was. And what you're going to want to do for the bus is go to transform. This is being annoying. I guess I can just do this. You're going to go to transform. You can set your... I'm going to delete this key because I don't need it. You can set your location to wherever you want. In this case, it's automatically set to where the camera is. And then, I think it is at least, I'm not 100% sure actually. Let's see. It should be, yeah. And then let's say I want to move over here. And I'm actually going to want to turn this way as well. And now, if it doesn't match, you can actually just copy the values from here. Oh, see, that actually automatically went back to where it was. So I'm actually just going to move the X a little bit. Just so that we get, let's just get a nice little panning of this area. Oops. I meant to touch the yaw, not the pitch. Let's see, and then transform. And now, when you play it, oops, I think it's trying. That's funny. So what you're going to want to do in that case is if it does that, yeah, see, it doesn't go, it tries to go all the way around because it tries to guess what you're doing. So for that, you're going to want to just add multiple keys so that you're telling it to go. Let's say it was here first, and it tries to go to I guess it's trying to go to. I'm going to need to see what this is. Negative 119. Oh, that's a problem. So we can represent this. What is it doing? Okay. Oh, did I accidentally add something here? I may have. Okay. But here's what I was trying to do. And you get a nice little pan of this, and it'll just play as and this will play whenever the cinematic sequence device in Creative is activated. And one thing that you'll want to make sure that you do is this. You don't want it to be cubic for a battle bus, because that would mean that the bus will start off slow, then get faster, and then slow down again. So you're going to want it to be linear. That way it's just a straightforward animation, and you're going to want to set all of your keys to linear. Anyways, that's here's my finished version of the sequence. you can you can always do. Oh, and I'm actually going to delete this actor because I'm not using it anymore. You can always press this little button here to eject it, and you're no longer controlling it. This will show up if you have it selected. I'm going to delete it though because we're not using it anymore. And here you can actually press this and lock viewport to camera cuts. And as you can see, I have a little bit of I have a bus here, and let me show you how to attach the bus to the camera actually. So you could just grab a model of the bus if you have one, but what I did is, oh, that's ugly. Okay. Oops, that's field of view. I want field of view to be 70. There we go. I get that confused with, what was it called? I get that confused with focal length sometimes. Um, you can use if you have a model of the bus, you can use that, but you can't just, like, I know that you've probably heard of unreleased props in Creative, and how you used to be able to just use those in Creative. Well, you actually can't in UEFN, and the reason is, and I actually had a big problem when I was making this map at first, because I had no idea what I was doing, and I imported a bus from a Creative Island that I had, and it kind of completely destroyed my map, because what it does is it will cause the map to fail validation because it's an illegal item, and that means you can't connect it to a session and you can't publish it either. But even after deleting it, it still causes problems, so I believe I ended up having to remake the project. You can still, which is not horrible, you can copy your assets, but still. Anyways. So what I did to do this is, as you can see, this is not exactly a regular battle bus. And that's because I actually just went into galleries. If you look for spooky prop gallery, or should be here somewhere. There it is, Halloween Battle Bus. This is actually a pretty good version of the Battle Bus if you're not going to actually look at it up close. I mean, we kind of are, but like you can't, because of the way I did this cinematic sequence, you can't rotate the camera. That's probably the biggest limitation about this. I'm sure there's a way, but I'm not sure of it at this moment. But if I go here and search for Halloween Battle Bus, ignore this. It doesn't really matter what rotation you have them in. I'm not sure why it defaults to this, but it'll fix it when your cinematic sequence starts. But as you can see, this is not the best Battle Bus prop, but if we're far from it, you won't really notice. I don't know why it decided to put it up there, but it really doesn't matter where you put it at the beginning. So what you need to do is, your camera actor will show up in your outliner because you created a new actor, and what you can do is, just like this, you can drag the battle bus onto the cinematic camera actor, and that will mean that this location is now relative to the camera. And so this is just slightly forward and slightly below the camera. And the teleporter that teleports the player under the battle bus is also, whoa, that's messed up. Let me actually, yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's a lot better. So the teleporter that I have underneath the bus is attached to the bus. And so now the teleporter's location is only minus 1,000 because it's actually now the location relative to the bus. And because we already had the camera set to move in the cinematic sequence, that will mean that the bus will automatically move with the camera. And I'm actually not 100% sure if this is going to work, but I put a skydive volume. I originally had the teleporter set to skydive after teleport, but I realized there's a glitch where the player won't be able to move unless they deploy their glider and release it. So what I decided to do instead was I haven't tested this yet. I will in a little bit. Is I turned that off and instead had a skydive volume that's slightly below the teleporter, so that the player jumps and they're not quite skydiving at first, but then they start skydiving after a second or two. And so here's what our finished sequence looks like if I lock it to the viewport. And yeah. So you can actually probably mess with this and have several of them so that you have a random number generator device pick between them. But this is just a basic sequence so that because I was lazy and I just wanted to see if it was possible to make a battle bus. But as you can see, the teleporter down here also moves with it. And I can actually eject myself from view, and you can actually watch the bus. Yeah. So that should be all you have to do. I'm actually going to see if this works in-game. You guys won't be able to see it because it's on my PS4, unfortunately. Let's see if that actually worked. Oh, it decided to automatically stop the sequence. Let's figure out what that's about. Um, let's see. Stop function on player entering mutator zone. That looks correct. You know what? Maybe I need to push changes because it's a little bit glitchy. Yeah, and while we're at it, I'm going to include a little bit of, this is going to bother me, bonus content here. If you're wondering how I did these rivers as well, now this is a little bit messed up looking, I get that, but you can see that the water actually does smoothly flow, even over here. And then we have this waterfall over here. What I did to do that is rather than using a lake like I did here, if you go into environment, water, you can actually grab a river and you can just move the splines around so you can direct it to go wherever you want. But what I also did for these was in spots like this where the water is supposed to be going a little bit faster, I actually set the speed to be faster. Let's see, where can we see that? Yeah, right here, velocity is 512, which is more than it is over here. I think. Should be. Or maybe over here. Yeah, the velocity is 256 over here. So that's how I did that. Oh my gosh, why is it taking so long to update my session? Unfortunately, I do not have a good reference to make an exact replica of Eclipse to State because this is a prefab, but there's a problem with the Eclipse to State prefab. Actually, there's many problems with it, but the biggest problem is that the vault is not present at all. So I kind of had to build the vault, but I have no idea what it looks like, so I just kind of customized it and made my own. But okay, let's see if it'll work now. If this doesn't work, I'm going to have to investigate more later. Okay, it does appear to work. Yeah, it works now. And now we have a working bus. I will attempt to publish this now, but it might not be active until tomorrow, so I will post the island code later in the description or in the comments when it gets published. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.